whatever it may be. A lot of different options. And that guy, that infrastructure is a little different because it's like the Jordan Travis effect. Even if Travis was healthy, nobody would have talked about him last year. Because if Rodgers got hurt, Tyrod was going to play. It'd be the same thing where if Jameis gets hurt, Tyrod's going to play. If Fields gets hurt, Tyrod's going to play. When you go into camp with Will Howard, and I'm using his name as a placeholder here, and Tyrod Taylor, 95% of the fan base is sitting there and going, I kind of want to see what Will Howard could do.
Yeah. That's how one touchdown pass in week 1 of the preseason.
Right.
Will's going to be on fire.
Right. So you do need to be delicate of how you build the room, not just what you build the room with. And well, I want to see the Jets get through free agency when we discuss where I think they should go with quarterback in this draft. I'm pretty firm. Cam Ward and Shadur are gone, right? At 7. So I'm not taking anyone there. I'm not really interested in taking a quarterback until the 3rd or 4th round, until whatever the best one's on the board. I need players right now. Yep. I need players. I don't need this hopium that Jackson Dart with the 2nd round pick is going to save the franchise. And there's things I like about Jackson Dart, but I don't know. I think the Jets can get a veteran to add to this room with Tyrod and then kind of play their cards and see if they get something with one of the quarterbacks on really early day 3 or very, very late day 2. So, don't forget the Jets, they have the Lions 3rd rounder. So they pick at the end of the 3rd round, not at the beginning of the 3rd round. That's traded for Devontae Adams. So that's something to keep in mind there too, where they might want to have a quarterback in their room before they go into day 3 of the draft.
Yeah. Right now, my operating mock draft, which I'm sure I will change once I get more information from all you guys, is I'm still putting Graham at 7, and I know it's hopium, but I'm hoping they could get him at 7.
I don't think it's out of. I think there's a real possibility that one's on the board.
That's what I'm locked into. The Jets, they want to build the trenches. They feel good about their offensive line. They bring Moses back. They badly need defensive line help. They saw what the Eagles just did. Graham happens to be there. They take him at 7. Then round 2, my mind is to tight end or wide receiver. Hopefully that breaks right where there's a tight end there worth taking. But, man, they got to spend an early draft pick at that position. I love Tyler Warren. I just don't know if that's going to end up being the play. It's not good. I just don't know if it lines up right for them this year. So in my mind, Graham 1st round, pass catcher 2nd round, quarterback dart throw 3rd, 4th round, along with maybe another defensive lineman and a safety. And then free agency, it's like free agency trade. I'm keeping quarterback out for now. Like, can you go find your number 2 receiver that way? Can you go get another veteran receiver that way? Can you get a safety who can play that way? I am sure they're going to add some players from the Lions and Niners defense between Glenn and Wilkes. So you can just comb through those free agent names, and some of those guys will be here. They need a 3rd pass rusher to rotate through with Jermaine and Will McDonald. Like, that's a lower tier signing. They could do that work in free agency. That's what normal teams do. They find those guys in free agency who contribute. I mean, Howie Roseman, just like pure absolute masterclass mix of draft, free agency, and trades this past year. And I don't expect any Jets to operate at that level yet, but do 70% of that. And this roster, like, you got an offensive line, you got a guy who could catch, you got playmakers at running back, you got Quinnen. Like, it's not totally starting from scratch. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. It's just going to be fascinating to see how the quarterback discourse plays out. And honestly, you guys, I think you, Dan, and Paul are going this year. The chatter at the combine about what the Jets are going to do at quarterback is going to be really interesting, because that's going to be one of the more interesting open-ended questions. Where is Aaron Rodgers going to play, and what are the Jets thinking at quarterback? And they're going to be linked with everyone. You're going to hear Cousins, you're going to hear Winston, you're going to hear Fields, you're going to hear Minshew, Stidham. Could they trade for Anthony Richardson if the Colts? They're going to hear everything, right? Everything is going to be thrown out there. Is Darnold going to come back? Probably not, no. But you're going to hear it all. So I'm fascinated what the rumor mill is churning like coming out of the combine going into the league year, because are they going to make an aggressive veteran addition? Because that's going to color then some of the stuff they might do around the draft. I guess as it stands right now, let's wrap with this. And I will actually wrap with this. It's not becoming a running joke in the Discord that I say, let's wrap, and we talk for an average of 12 more minutes.
Yeah, you every have to time. Get across the pond.
Yeah, I'm going to miss my flight. Who do you think right now? What is the Jets 1 through 3 in the quarterback room? We're recording this February 10th, day after the Super Bowl. It's running Wednesday morning. What is your prediction as it stands right now?
Oh man. Well, we know Tyrod's going to be there, unless they. The only way he's not is if they want to trade him to a team that needs a backup and they want to sign their own version of him. But that's just stupid to me. I think Tyrod's a good player. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't really worry about him as a player. I worry about him staying healthy. Tyrod, you almost wonder if Jordan Travis is not in the 3 just because he has to earn that through health and progress. I could genuinely see it being Tyrod, another veteran signed in free agency. Like we talked about Jameis a lot. And then the Will Howard conversation. Like who's there in the end of round 3? Jackson Dart, Will Howard, Kyle McCord. Who is it out of those kind of guys where you have 2 veterans protecting that guy? And this list is pretty extensive. Riley Leonard, Tyler Shuck, Dylan Gabriel.
It feels like the holy trinity is either McCord, Dart, or Howard.
Yeah.
Ends up being a Jet. And I feel like you're mentioning, I'm making the presumption with the slight volume that you mentioned Howard Moore, that you kind of skew that way. And I can also see Glenn being like national champion, winner, play. Like I could kind of see some of that, but I don't know.
I mean, you just do the common math with a guy like Howard, who is 23 already and has played a ton of football, which is the whole Parcells evaluation process. He checks the boxes for that old school way. 6'4". He's 230 plus pounds. He started 28 games for Kansas State before he transferred to Ohio State and won a natty. So multi-year starter, size, arm, can move a little bit. That kind of player would not surprise me personally. So I guess if you're just looking at it like that, I would say Tyrod, another vet, and a Will Howard kind of player. That would be. I think people need to get in their minds that like there's a world where they enter camp and Jordan Travis is not written on the top 3 of the depth chart.
Yeah, he's got to earn that roster spot, which I think is reasonable. All right, War Room. We're almost in that period. Catch up on Streets of Fire if you haven't yet. Rest of the week will be draft season, flight plan, Buck the Trend, TOJ talks, couple drops on the Discord show. I think we have 2 different ones hitting this week. Live show, badlandstoj.com. Still got our Badlands hoodie live there as well. Still got our Glenn shirt live there as well. Check it all out. And we're about 2 months out from getting to hang with everyone in person, which is going to be awesome. I got to start writing a script because we can't just do what we always do, which is just come on the mic and riff, because we got 3 hours to fill. The good news is we have like 12 different people coming up on stage with us doing different bits and segments. So we'll have plenty to discuss in a long Q&A. So thank you everyone for listening. We will talk to you soon.